Okay, hi. Welcome to this coaching session. I hear you've been having some presentation issues. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, it's true because so far in the previous year I wasn't asked to do presentations in front of a bigger audience.
Mm-hmm.
So normally if it's just my PBL group or a smaller audience, I have no problems with it. But when I get asked to do it in front of the whole module, for instance, then it gets a little bit tricky with emotions and everything.
Do you think that's because it's a big audience, or it's also the fact that there's people in the audience that you're not naturally presenting to?
Well, it's not just that. It may also be because maybe there are some people in the audience for which I feel that my skills need to be higher for them to really appreciate or be like, okay, this is a good presentation. But I think it's also because of the actual amount of people. When you have close to 40 pairs of eyes just looking at you and listening closely to everything you're saying, I think it's a bit, yeah.
It puts a bit of pressure?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, what do you think you could do to get over this feeling you have that's...
Well, at my last presentation, I had an audience of close to 50 people, and I had to say it wasn't as bad because I tried to focus. Well, on the one side, I hadn't learned the
subject?
Yeah, I hadn't learned the presentation.
You had or you had not?
I had not learned it.
Okay.
Like studying really hard. I actually tried to understand what I was going to explain, so I didn't have to read it a lot of times. Basically I knew it. So that took part of that thing. So I kind of had the possibility to walk around and gesturize and stuff like that. So that helped me to take the focus from what I keep saying or looking at all the people.
Okay, so knowing the subject that you're presenting helps you become less nervous and more in control?
Yeah, and helps you take away your focus from, oh my god, what am I going to say, what was going to be after this slide or whatever, and it helps you focus like on the crowd and moving from one place to another, so you're not like stagnant in one place and be like, okay, this is my presentation, the slide is in the back. If you become a little bit like interactive with your presentation, I think you can overcome.
Okay. If let's say if you were asked to present in front of 1,000 people on a subject that you knew nothing about and you had one day to prepare, how would you get ready for this presentation?
Well, first off, I would try to really understand the subject and find the things in it that I think are most interesting about it or are most representative for it, and just try to memorize that or come up with a script for the presentation just in my head and focus on those most important aspects and then take it from there. But yeah, the 1,000 people could be a bit of a problem because that's really a lot of people.
So in that situation, you would get organized and look at the presentation itself in a systematic way, but then you have to deal with 1,000 people, right?
Yeah.
So so you've done one part, how can you tackle the next part, the next challenge of the presentation?
Taking in consideration there's so many people, and I think that my presentation kind of would need to be a bit interactive, because otherwise all the people would even not necessarily start talking to each other, but it's hard to control those many people, so there's gonna be noise for sure. Well, I would try to, depending on the subject, if the subject allows it, I would try to get someone from the audience or kind of involve them in a way so they're more into it. And then I don't know, I just I would try speaking to all of them, but that's a large number of people. Maybe interacting, like I said, with some kind of questions, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you try to use interaction and then study the material in a way that you can not be reading from your notes as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay. What else? Is there anything else to do with presentations that you think could be done to improve the quality overall? Like, let's say you weren't nervous ever, and you learned your material. What kind of like non-verbal skills would you apply?
I think this is, well, obviously not the most important. I think the most important part in any presentation is the knowledge that is presented or shared or whatever. But I think, and this is also what my tutor said to me when I had the last presentation, that also like your body language is very important for the audience, because if you sit in one place in the back and you're like, okay, these are the slides, this is the knowledge, even if you don't read from them, or if you're still into it but you're not really active, then the crowd still perceives your performance as less than what you wished it would be. But my tutor said that if you engage them to like really be a part of what you're explaining, to really be focusing on it, and if you move from one part to the other, or gesturize a lot, or just don't sit in the back, come to the front and try to gather and explain things with your hands or gestures or whatever, that really helps. And I think with the bigger the audience, the bigger you need to like gesturize and stuff, because it's harder to control a bigger audience. But if your body language is really and also it needs to be in sync with the phase and like what you're saying. If you're probably gonna say something about cancer or stuff, you're probably not gonna be too hyped, but still you need to.
So the body language that you use and the non-verbal skills need to be relevant to what you're saying in that moment, because otherwise it could be quite confusing. Right. Okay. Right, so we've covered non-verbal, we've covered just practicing. Is there anything else that bothers you about presenting that you want to discuss, or anything else I can help you with?
Well, I don't know. Well, I think we've covered already. My biggest fear with it was the amount of people and how but this thing with gesturizing and not being stagnated, it really helped me overcome like my last presentation. And I think not at all, I wasn't feeling totally at ease, but compared to previous experiences, it was way better. But now I'm waiting for my next one to see how it goes, because I think all the things that I learned in the last one will really help me to take control of the next one even more.
Okay, so you look forward to your next presentation to show how you can improve on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, man.